Okay. All right. Are you ready to upgrade to Windows 10? Court reporters and captioners have already started to move to Windows 10, the new operating system released by Microsoft. While a new system can be daunting, three tech-savvy court reporters who have already upgraded can offer advice on what to do when you're ready. All three court reporters who tested Windows 10 for the JCR said it was a relatively simple transition from Windows 8 and that it took about an hour. When upgrading from Windows 7, some reported having a tougher transition. If you have a Windows 7 computer with lots of programs and tweaks to it, I'd say if everything is working, wait, recommends Keith Lemons, RPR CRR, a freelance court reporter in Brentwood, Tennessee, and JCR contributing editor. You have until August 2016 to upgrade to Windows 10 for free, and a lot more bugs will have been discovered and fixed by then. If your computer is still waiting for the update to be available, definitely wait. From what I've read, only the computer configurations with no known issues were apparently dubbed first wave available because they knew there would be few, if any, problems with the upgrade. If you are way down on the list, chances are you have a configuration that hasn't been tested or is not exactly bug-free. Another word of advice if you want to upgrade: give yourself a few days without a job so that you can get used to the new system. If necessary, redo the upgrade or go back to your previous system if you find it doesn't work. The CAT software companies have reported that their systems are compatible with Windows 10. See below. What you will probably like about the upgrade. I have upgraded most of my computers to Windows 10 with no problems. Windows 10 is pretty much like 7 with the added bonus of apps if you want them on the start menu. One big plus is that when you do the free upgrade to the 10, it doesn't wipe the computer of your installed programs and device, said Sue Terry, RPR, CRR, NCRA Director, and liaison to NCRA's Technology Committee. Almost all of the function keys that were introduced with 8, like the Windows logo key plus X for getting to most things we use often, still work with 10. Windows 10 is everything Windows 8 should have been. I love it. It's fast and friendly, said Lamont, who also upgraded a computer from Windows 8 to Windows 10. I rather like their new internet browser, said Terry, called Edge. It seems like a much faster browser than the old Internet Explorer. Oh, interesting. So there'll be a new browser called Edge where you might have issues. The only issue I've had is with the older version, actually the only version of Blue Soleil Bluetooth software for Mira and Diamante, reported Lamont. It needs to be uninstalled and reinstalled with the correct version, which can be downloaded from Stenograph or just put on a thumb drive in a folder and executed from there. Also, getting the Bluetooth to run every time has proved to be a bit elusive. The best solution is to open the Blue Soleil program and make sure that the services are running and that the COM port is active. I was also told by a trainer that we need to reinstall the PDF writer for Case Catalyst, which is found in the program folder itself. Because I had to buy a new computer the week before, my Windows 8.1 was a relatively fresh installation, so there were no operating system issues with the upgrade, said Lamont. I'm finding the reverse to be true with my older desktop computer, which is running Windows 7 Premium. I still cannot get the upgrade icon to even schedule a Windows 10 install. Nothing I've tried short of grabbing the actual program from CNET has worked. My other older HP notebook will not upgrade because of its video card. There is no known fix for that. And then it goes on if you're on a Mac, but I don't think we are. Here's on behalf of NCRA's Technology Committee, the JCR staff contacted the makers of CAT software products to ask if the different software products were ready for users to update to Windows 10. While representatives from all 5 companies said that users could update when they were ready, they all suggested that it may be wise to wait until more of the Windows 10 operating system's bugs were found and the operating system has been further updated. Microsoft is frequently releasing updates that are automatically made to Windows 10 to fix problems. Newer versions should also contain all the updates made to date. All 5 companies asked that users who do have problems report them so that the companies are aware of them. Stenograph. Stenograph spent several months testing Case Catalyst with Windows 10 and found versions 12 through 16 compatible. As with all updates, Stenograph recommends making backups of your work before updating to Windows 10, said Dan Peterson, Stenograph's Director of Marketing. Okay, that's interesting. Definitely do a backup first. Okay. Here's a preparation guide for flawless real-time output. Reporting a deposition or other event in real time doesn't need to add stress to your day. Knowing your software and its shortcuts, having a plan, and being prepared for the topics you hear will go a long way to helping you provide flawless real-time on the job. Know your software. Several reporters interviewed by the JCR said the first step to being prepared is to know your software. Our CAT vendors have provided us with a large number of tools to not only prepare for real-time jobs, but more importantly, on the fly, correct your real-time feed from your writer using macros, real-time commands, speaker fields, etc., said Sandy Vanderpool, RMR, CRR, a freelancer from Lotus, California. Vanderpool, who also holds NCRA's Real-Time Systems Administrator certificate, noted that this is the single most important piece of advice she could share. Be familiar with your CAT software capabilities and let your software work for you. My software has options to power define entries from the writer. Whenever you can keep your hands on the writer and add entries, it gives you just that extra bit of time to do things quickly and make your feed even more clean on the fly, said Lynette Mueller, RDR CRR, a court reporter in Johns Creek, Georgia. My software also has Exceller Writer's dictionary entries to J-define words, delete last untranslate, define the last untranslate, delete an extra Q&A, fix a translated word, and much more. Many of the software companies offer specific training on these features. They also work through various associations to help court reporters better use their products, and it pays off for reporters. Many of the CAT products can now offer users the ability to define a stroke after the fact, suggest strokes, or fix or delete untranslates, all of which create a smoother product for your clients. I always learn as much about my software as I can, said Marjorie Peters, RMR, CRR, also holding the Real-Time Systems Administrator certificate, a reporter from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She noted that the CAT software features are like very powerful tools that can ease my work and mind as I write to help me provide the cleanest translation. Even if I do receive a complaint or find information about the witness, unanticipated phrases, terms, and number sequences will crop up in a deposition only to be repeated multiple times. Case Catalyst Brief It and Live Suggestion come to my aid every single time. Know your system. The reporters also said that knowing your system inside and out will save you a valuable time if you do encounter problems. For Peters, prepping for a real-time job involves two distinct elements: the tools and the writing. When I know the real-time equipment setup that I will be using inside and out, I can walk into a deposition suite calmly and confidently. That removes stress. If there is any troubleshooting that has to be done, I can be more focused on finding the resolution and will do so quickly because I am already confident that my real-time equipment is set up properly. Peters explained that her need to get problems fixed quickly comes from her days working as a broadcast and cart captioner. In broadcast captioning, we have to record the actual time spent resolving a technical issue and then file a written report, said Peters. But, she noted, the same kind of knowledge can help in court, depositions, or any other situation you find yourself in. I practice setting up using different schemes: internet delivered real-time streaming or local wireless stream, netbooks versus iPads or both, and then all of the above, wirelessly streaming locally and over the internet at the same time, said Peters. I want to always be ready to send a stream to someone who is not in the room. Many times, an attorney taking a deposition will ask whether real time can be sent to his colleague back at the law firm. It's an excellent tool in that scenario, as well as for someone participating by conference call to view the real time stream. It reinforces the value that I can bring to the client as a proficient real time writer. When I practice and prepare both my hardware, software, and writing, I am more relaxed and write at peak performance, said Peters. Vanderpool feels that preparation is constant, referring to a job she took recently. Just today, I spent about 2 hours preparing for a live deposition real-time audio and video feed. I have a new computer and haven't worked with live deposition streaming for several months. So testing the technology on my end and with the client was a necessity to ensure client satisfaction and for my peace of mind. Update your dictionary. Reporters still rely on word lists and the notice or prior transcript to get a sense of the vocabulary, although many of them also said they would do a search for the deponent on Google. Excellent point. I am always adding in dictionary entries, said Lisa Mervin, RMR CRR of Visalia, California. Recently, I had a real-time criminal proceeding with 30 defendants and 30 attorneys, and their Hmong, HMONG, and Laotian, LAOTIAN, interpreters. I got the docket ahead of time, and then I made briefs for every defendant using the first syllable of their names written twice, and each attorney with the first syllable of their first or last name. I also do a lot of international conference captioning that requires speaker ID for 125 countries in case they speak, Mervin continued. I spent a great deal of time perusing the conference website, looking for documents and prior sessions, inputting names and possible terms, making sure I have all the country names with brief forms and also written out. Most of the reporters said that dictionary building is a continuous process. It's not just the individual job you're prepping for, but general knowledge and dictionary entries of words in case they come up, said Mervin. As a federal official reporter, Kathy Pepper, RMR CRR, of New Orleans, Louisiana, looks at whatever information is available. If it is criminal matters and I am just handed a cover sheet with names and numbers of cases, I hurriedly make briefs for the defendants' names and their attorneys' names, she said. If it is a civil oral argument, I look at the relevant briefs and skim through them, looking for words or phrases of what they will be discussing and make briefs for that, along with making briefs for the plaintiff's and defendant's name, as well as the attorney's names. If it is a civil trial, I will get a copy of the pretrial memorandum and make briefs for commonly occurring words and phrases concerning the case, the parties and witnesses' names, and the attorney's names. I skim through documents in the case and pick out what I think they will be discussing and make briefs ahead of time so that I can write shorter and faster, Pepper explained. Real time has become such a constant for me personally in that I connect to my iPad with every job, said Deborah A. Levinson, RMR, CRR, CMRS, CRI, CEO of Dalco Reporting Inc., based in New York and White Plains. The day before prep has really become non existent for me. Others on our staff who do not follow this routine will run through a setup the day before. I always Google search a deponent for a real-time deposition, regardless of being provided with a word list or notice or prior transcript. I read a few URLs and jot down some words on a Microsoft sticky note that night before. At the job, I stroke out any case-specific names or words available. Invariably, the parties will talk about topics other than what I've prepared for, so I'm ready to make appropriate briefs for words or phrases that are used repetitively. Even so, Levinson doesn't skimp on the basics. She said she makes sure to arrive early, properly fed, and with a positive mindset, and a supply of snacks, she said. I never lunch out and am prepared to work through every single recess short of comfort breaks. Final words of advice. My real-time goal is to always strive for 99.8% translation rate on every job, said Mueller. The prep work is essential to maintain or exceed that goal. My writing is constantly evolving. Writing short is paramount to the success of my translation rate, for keeping up with the fast talkers and also being kind to my body, specifically my back and hands. Do real time every time so stress does not become the underlying component of a job. There are always variables to factor in, so go easy on yourself and accept that real time is transparent and not picture perfect, said Levinson. Making real time the norm instead of the exception will mean that you are always, mostly, prepared no matter what is thrown at you on the job. I love when they say a name and it comes out perfectly spelled correctly, said Pepper. I love the time and stress it saves me by knowing what names will come out every time I write them. I think it really makes me look absolutely marvelous. When asked what the payoff was for prepping, Mervyn said, good, clean, real time. Spend the time. It pays off in a big way. We all prepare in different ways, that's for sure, said Vanderpool. But the bottom line is prepare until you feel comfortable and relaxed about reporting your assignment. Here's a couple of little points. A few pro real-time preparation tips. Always arrive at least 45 minutes prior to the deposition. If you can, ask for a caption if you don't already have it, and create dictionary entries of proper names, unfamiliar terms, and phrases. If providing a real-time feed, set up equipment immediately and test your real-time feed. Always do this first. Your client expects to have a successful hookup to their reporter. If you are working for a firm, request the caption ahead of time and a case word list. Read over these prior to the deposition to gain familiarity with the terminology. If, for instance, the deposition is centered on a specific topic, such as groundwater contamination, use your favorite internet search to learn more about that topic. You will be amazed at what you will find. You don't have to enter every word into your dictionary. Familiarization is usually sufficient. If you're working on a case, reporting multiple depositions, maintaining your case dictionary and speaker identification saves time in preparation going forward. I've got my cat scratch global entries available and review them before each deposition along with my case dictionary. Oh, and I never forget to have a cup or two of coffee. Get plenty of sleep and smile. Seriously, being relaxed, alert, and full of energy after appropriate real-time preparation is the recipe to success on your real-time job. How to Troubleshoot Your System by Marjorie Peters. Never troubleshoot haphazardly. Remember that our real-time feed is an electronic one-way street that starts at the writer through the real-time laptop where the router or other sending device is located, and then finally out to the attorney, iPads, and netbooks. Start troubleshooting at the source and move outward in an organized way. Does the real-time feed leave the steno machine and reach the reporter's laptop? Is the router still connected? Does one iPad have a feed but another does not? Are the iPads connected and receiving but the netbooks are not? When I am testing, I try to anticipate what kind of problems could occur that may interrupt my real-time feed, and then, of course, what I will do to resolve that as quickly as possible. Professional athletes, concert musicians, and Oscar-winning actors practice technique to hone their craft. They perform drills over and over. Their practice creates muscle memory. Because of this, their performance seems effortless as well as flawless. Their bodies automatically know what they are going to do under pressure and will evade the tackle, hit the high note, and convince us as we watch. As court reporters, we do this when we practice writing, make entries, learn terms and names, and commit to know our troubleshooting plans. Create a plan for your troubleshooting ahead of time, and your clients will see your confidence on the day when you do have to troubleshoot, and you will again demonstrate your value and gain a loyal customer. They depend on us for this. I like. Great, awesome points. Okay, so one of the, interesting on that last little blurb was start with the source. Okay, that's great advice. That's really great advice. And one of the things, honestly, is that I noted throughout this entire article is that it doesn't really talk about how you need to be this awesome writer. It's more about how you need to be this awesome technician so that it makes you look like you are an awesome writer, right? About using your software. And, just like with anything that you do, practice. I think practicing, setting the whole thing up is, there you go, fake it till you make it, perfect. And practicing at home, like just setting up, your laptop and, borrow some neighbors, friends' iPads. I mean, their computers, like, just play house. And so when you get there, that you do have that confidence. And I thought it was a good point. Go to a job always writing real time, always planning on hooking up, even though as a brand new reporter, even on your first day, of course, they're not going to have you hooking up. God only help us if they do. But, but you just always go there with that attitude, like I'm hooking up, then it makes it not so scary, right? Because you do it every time instead of you have that mindset every time. Anybody else see a good point?
I have a question real quick. How they were saying Googling the deponent, what do you think would come up? Like their Facebook or,
absolutely. I mean, just think of it this way. I mean, just say you meet, say you're dating and you meet someone, or actually my son was dating and, was going out with this girl and I'm like, that dad seems kind of different. So anyways, I Googled him and I found out more than I really wanted to know. I mean, do you know what I mean? And no doubt, maybe dad Googled me. I mean, just Google yourself, right?
Yeah, I've done that before, and I'm so nosy, so that would be perfect for me.
Yeah. Well, like, another thing too, when you have kids and they'll go to a party or a friend's house, hey, you Google that house, and then you look at that house. You can see the house. So I think, honestly, I used to do this. I would put in, yeah, I was scoping for my sister and she would have like a big blurb and it was like a speech or something. Just some regular guy. I mean, he wasn't, wasn't the president or anything famous. And then I just put in words like, I'm making this up, but ladies and gentlemen, at the start of this, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, boom, here comes the whole document in living color right there. So just Google, Google, Google. And, like I would want his name. I would want, and the name of the case. So then you can kind of look at when this guy that was the dad of he was an attorney and he actually had been, I don't want to say arrested, but he was for soliciting a clerk because he had not turned in his a particular case. In everything has dates. I mean, I can't really say as I blame him. I might do it too because as an attorney, you have all these cases and there's due dates, and if you don't file it by the due date, right, then the statute runs out and you can't file it. So now obviously your client is going to sue you because you didn't file it in time. So he went to the clerk and I don't know if he offered her money or looked the other way or they were friends or whatever and said, could you make this like due yesterday instead of today? And she did it. And so they both were caught and blah, blah, blah. So, so then that kind of would give you an idea of what the case is about. So then I'd want her name and then his name. And, you just kind of, how it goes, woo, and then it just, how far you want to do it. But also, the more prep time you do, and again, kind of the nosy factor, I think we all probably have that or we wouldn't be interested in this job. I always call it curious, but anyways, but we're kind of curious by nature, right? So if you do all of that, then your editing time when you come home will just be, so nice. But really the main takeaway is you don't have to be this, phenomenal, off the charts writer. You just really have to know your software to make you look like off the charts writer. Okay. All right, here. I want to do this one. Good. I think so too. I like that. This is a good one this week. Okay. This one's just how they profile somebody, and this girl's name is Donna Linton. She's an RMR, and she lives in Ashburn, Virginia, and she's a stenograph theory. I don't think stenograph had a theory, but anyways, and she graduated from Herkimer County Community College in Herkimer, New York. Erin, in your woods. While in high school, I wanted to go to nursing school for half the day in what they called BOCES, B-O-C-E-S, like a trade school. But my guidance counselor encouraged me to find a career utilizing typing, Greg shorthand, and English skills, which were my strong points. And then here is the unique part of the story. Let's just say a close relative was wrongfully accused of committing a crime. Thought about what my guidance counselor was pointing out, had observed some of those court reporting invoices and suggested I might look into being a court reporter. I had no idea what it was. I thought I'd be writing newspaper reports and drawing caricature drawings for press releases. So I was quite surprised to be handed a weird-looking machine and a pad of paper. What has been your best work experience so far in your career? There have been so many. Just getting asked back to any case I worked on makes me feel like that was my best work experience. I would say being able to report the White House Preservation Committee meeting, in which the First Lady is always chair, was a highlight, circa Hillary Rodham Clinton. What was your biggest hurdle to overcome as a new reporter, and how did you do so? Traveling all over to the little municipal courts on Long Island. At night, lawyers would become judges, and we would be working on that docket until 2 a.m. sometimes. The bottom of my old gremlin literally fell out of the car on my way to one assignment, so I had to call a taxi to take me the rest of the way and have someone pick me up at midnight. So getting a new car was how I overcame that hurdle. What are you most proud of in your career? Actually, providing CART. Writing for recipients who are deaf or hard of hearing is the most rewarding thing I have done. They are so over the top appreciative. Even if a word doesn't translate properly, they tell me it's more than they ever get with even lip reading or sign language. I'm very proud to be volunteering in church to help parishioners, and I was a bit nervous to do it because it is so different from litigation writing. Now I can't imagine not being there for them. What advice or tips would you offer to new reporters? I have so much advice. Keep your keep your poker face on, no emotions. Another is to attend your state annual convention and the NCRA annual convention. The boost of confidence and networking that being with your fellow reporters gives you, as well as gaining advice on how to or venting, is more valuable than you can imagine and worth every dime. If you are going to take any certification test or your RPR, for example, don't take a break. Life happens. Just keep practicing. If you really want it, you will get it. Good advice. Did you overcome a challenge in your career? Can you believe I resisted the computer? I would dictate into a reel-to-reel stenorette machine, and a typist would type multiple copy transcripts with carbon paper. Even though 5 years prior I learned the first computer-compatible theory and even changed some of the writing to avoid conflicts on my own, I still resisted change. Embracing change was the hardest thing to overcome. It's much easier to embrace it. Have you accomplished something not related to your career that you would like to relate? I recently watched all the Harry Potter movies with my daughter before she left for college. I also took an 8-mile long hike up my first very difficult mountain. It's called Old Rag in the Shenandoah Valley. I'm not a big fan of heights, but I did it. Favorite tip: I always seem to be better writing everything out if a brief didn't stick with me in school. As technology progressed to real-time translation, there were too many risks of writing it all out and having untranslates. When briefing on the fly, I just use the first syllable of the word or name and hit it twice, then define it as soon as I can. Okay. And I think she's interesting, and then looking at her, and obviously by hearing the story, the fact that she was dictating to a stenorette, I mean, most of you are going, what is that? I mean, in the old days, they had, and reel to reel, it's like two wheels, and then the tape is just going over to this one. And so she's probably 60. So she might have a few older claims. Okay. Let me see which other ones I marked. And that one always. Okay, here's one. Tips, tricks, and the latest in trends shared with attendees at the 2015 NCR Convention and Expo. 25 years on-the-job training in one seminar. NCRA member Gail Verbano, RDR, CRR, a freelance reporter from Boothwyn, Pennsylvania, led a lively discussion of what-if scenarios as part of the judicial track. Attendees discussed what to do when people speak too fast, if a lawyer answers for a witness or says strike that, or asks the court reporter to leave a blank in the transcript. Other scenarios discussed included how to handle interpreters when witnesses answer in English and when and how to interrupt. She also shared pointers from 25 years of being on the job, tips for producing cleaner writing, and a glimpse into what she packs in her case each time she takes on a real-time job. According to Verbano, we try to protect the record, but we can't make the record. One second. Okay. Captioners, Linda Hershey, RDR, CRR, CBC, CCP, Jennifer Shook, RDR, CRR, CBC, CCP, and Steve Clark, along with sign language interpreters Jana Owens and Rita Jo Scarcella, led a panel on ethics for captioners as part of the real-time track. The members were representing the CART Ethics Task Force, which was charged with creating an NCRA Code of Professional Ethics for CART and broadcast captioners. recognizing that the ethical issues that captioners face are often different than those faced by judicial reporters. According to the presenters, many elements of the NCRA Code of Professional Ethics for CART and broadcast captioners are similar to those on the judicial side. Some of the important differences are the greater emphasis on confidentiality and privacy, concerns about working with a minor rather than an adult, or the difference between a file and a transcript. Because the task force was essentially developing ethical professional standards for the captioning industry, they included their partners in accessibility, sign language interpreters. The interpreters helped the captioners with discussions about verbatim transcripts. For example, a common misconception about sign language interpreters is that their interpretation is verbatim, which is not possible, since American Sign Language and English have slightly different grammar and syntax. The sign language interpreter commented that working on the task force was a learning experience for them as well, providing them with new insights into how captioners work with a similar client base. Audience questions also prompted a discussion on issues related to accessibility and advocacy. The task force submitted the NCRA Code of Professional Ethics for CART and broadcast captioners for the NCRA Board of Directors approval and has gone to the next step toward implementation. Look for more information in the near future. Here's some questions. I have a video file, but what should I give my client? Bruce Balmer, CLVS, led a practical session on video files in legal videography, where he reviewed the different types of video files currently used in the industry. Balmer said that authored DVDs are the most common formats, but he predicted that MPEG-4 will become more common in the future. He pointed out that if videographers offer other formats, including multiple MPEG versions and synced versions of all formats, then clients will ask for them. Balmer also ran through a series of questions that the videographer should ask the client to determine which format to use, such as what the video will be used for. For example, whether a trial is bench or jury, the client's playback equipment, and if the video should be synced. He also addressed questions that the client should ask of the videographer, such as whether the videographer uses standard or high definition. Balmer also provided a step-by-step demonstration of the TMPGE NC Video Mastering Works software, which is the industry standard for converting from the video source. Motivating, coaching, and mentoring for student success. A wide range of national and international court reporting educators attended a session led by Mary Beth Everhart, RPR, CRI, CPE, and Karen Soule, RPR, CRI, CPE, which was part of the teacher's workshop. Everhart and Soule began the session with a puzzle to encourage creative thinking and discourage the mindset of, that's the way we've always done it, or this is how we did it when I went to school. The interactive session covered topics ranging from types of engagement to the importance of setting high standards and appropriate boundaries to intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Attendees shared specific tips, such as using a school social media page to share briefs or celebrate student accomplishments while keeping in mind FERPA privacy issues. Everhart reminded attendees what we're training our students to do is really difficult, and it can be tempting for a student to fall under the trap of thinking, I'm not progressing because of the way the school or program is run. In court reporting, the honeymoon phase ends quickly, especially in theory. While instructors should find ways to provide their students with regular, individualized feedback and support, at the end of the day, students need to spend time in school thinking and behaving like their future professional selves. This includes tracking and assessing their own progress and connecting with their local, state, and national court reporting communities. Let me just say something on that line also. We were kind of, of course we have meetings and this, that, and the other. And one of our last meetings was, sometimes, sometimes it feels like as a instructor, bye Rachel, it seems like an instructor, like John was saying, sometimes it feels like we want their success more than they want it. And and sometimes it does feel like that. And sometimes I know I tend to have more of a tough love version of it. But I think, I hope, and it, that it's productive. But like, if I keep reaching out and you don't reach back to me and you don't seem like all that interested, it's like, well, I can't want this more for you than you want for you. So you know what, then, human nature. So um just kind of something to think about, although I don't think it applies to anybody in this room, but just thought I'd mention that. Okay. The reporter and the videographer partnership. Maureen Walsh, CLVS, and Chris Willett, RDR, CRR, CCP, teamed up to show the strengths of court reporters and legal videographers working together in the deposition setting during a session, including as part of the business track. Walsh and Willett shared the workflow before, during, and after a deposition for both court reporters and legal videographers, as well as which certifications to look for and the types of questions to ask to find the right teammate. Both presenters emphasized the importance of using a CLVS, citing the quality of the CLVS seminar and the rigorous exam. Walsh explained that unlike any other legal videography organization, the NCRA program was developed specifically to help CLVS support court reporters. A common theme throughout the session was how court reporters and legal videographers can help each other. Willett suggested that the Real-Time Systems Administrator certificate is valuable not just for a court reporter to earn, but also for a legal videographer to earn, explaining that an RSA credentialed videographer who is working with a CRR certified court reporter can assist with troubleshooting. In addition, the court reporter can hook into the videographer's audio mixer. Walsh suggested bringing a splitter, 25-foot cord, and quarter-inch adapter, which is higher quality sound than any audio backup system a court reporter may be using. And I'm sure you're thinking, and I'm thinking to myself too, like, wow, how are you supposed to learn all this, right? And that's an okay thought to think that. But I would, there's a STAR, I think it's STAR. It's another conference. It's not NCRA, but what it is it goes over technology. Like the whole thing is about technology. And, of course, we're on a student budget, but when you're on a court reporting budget, always keep investing so you stay on top of your game. Okay, so that you're always, the one they ask for and the one they want. And, that's just part of life, is just learning. Right? Right. Okay. All right. Take 15. See you in 15. Okay, let me take roll. Okay. Don't forget to put your last names so I don't have to use my brain. Okay, one more second, and if it doesn't work, then. So, Aaron, you know that last, are you still here? That last article we read about, and it mentioned that, you know, it was a New York firm. Honestly, I always, you know, if I was going to apply somewhere, I would want to apply for someone who's active in NCRA and, you know, is doing great things, because, you know, then you'll get an opportunity to learn a lot. And even if you don't stick with them, at least it's something that you can take with you to another another agency. So,
which article was that?
the last one where they're talking about technology and real time and all of that, that one would be the one. That would be a good one to hook up with. Okay. Sharon, I'm drawing a total blank on your last name. I want to say Johnson. Kennedy. See, I knew it was close. Okay, Tina Teskey. Okay, Tina, how are you doing with the weather? You know, Tina's in South Carolina with all those flooding.
I'm at the tip of North Carolina, almost in South, but it's good today. I mean, we had a couple days of no rain. It's just sprinkling today, so we're pretty much done with all that.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, I know. It was terrible. Depressing.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. Okay, let's do some Q&A, and let's do 7 minutes. Okay. Share the desktop.
Carrie, have you uploaded any new of your dictation onto RTC?
No, I haven't. Are you missing that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I will, I guess, well, let me try on this. I'll try on this one. Let's see. Oh, stop recording.